In studio, we do have Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. He is the Secretary General of Jubilee Party. Mheshimiwa, welcome to the studio once again after unceremoniously having to leave yesterday.
I must apologize, and that's it's not the way we would want to ever do things. But some of these things come, and there is little you can do about it.
Yeah,
that was things happened that needed to be sorted out so quickly.
Right.
But I actually thought it was just a 3-4 minutes
phone call,
but it turned out to be hours.
Yeah.
And from there, a series of meetings until all the way to the evening. And one of it is, of course, to be a little clearer in our minds that we are still in Azimio. We, Jubilee, are still in Azimio. And we are in Azimio because we went for 2022 elections, and we lost our votes to somebody else who decided to pick them. And you recall that one of the things that we did as Azimio,
right,
was to say that we don't recognize the government of William Ruto. And we went throughout the country and called it illegitimate. Shortly thereafter, Baba, a few people wrote letters, said they have left Azimio. Others, Baba also crossed over and went and became broader than he was in Azimio. And but you can see also Kalonzo is heavily involved in the united opposition. We are also in the united opposition, but it's important to mention that our being in opposition as Jubilee Party, it is ideological. It is not because we are angry. Gachagua is in opposition because he was thrown to us. And you can actually tell, and he has a reason to be angry. That's not the way people are thrown out of their offices.
Okay.
So, but ours is driven by the fact that the way things are being done, we had a different position in terms of what we wanted to do. Remember, there before we were talking of subsidies, we were told it is subsidies are done by people who have never been to school. So we allowed the guys who have knowledge in plant and lizards and such worms to come and do their thing, and we went harder. So our being in opposition is ideological, and I can tell you, we in Jubilee are squarely, firmly in opposition. I say that because one of the things that is unkind of our colleagues in opposition is when you think the other one is more popular than you in the opposition, you assign him a name or a character. I know Gachagua, when he was in the US, one of the press conferences he did was to say that I am working for the NIS, I am working with Ruto.
Are you?
The other day I saw Degwajiro also say that they don't recognize Matiang'i, hamuelewi, hawamjui. He's also working for NIS and the rest. So it's unfortunate that the guys in the opposition, our colleagues in the opposition, have been very, very preoccupied in trying to paint us in Jubilee as those who are not in opposition. Yet, what walitukuta kule? Sahi they should actually ask us, why were we wearing sufurias? When I was wearing sufuria, I remember Gachagua calling me a madman. By the way, he visited Daragwa about 3 times. And in one of the occasions, he almost made the congregations or the attendees kneel down and play for me because I was mad. Now I see him saying the things I was saying more eloquently and with a bigger megaphone. So I know now he knows that I was not mad. And even where we are going,
or is it he who is now mad?
It is a possibility either way. But I can also now tell him that, and also, if you ask me, I can say, where are we going? As opposition, when you're in opposition, you look for ways to get back power.
Yes.
And we then went round. I remember after that, we went and started the Rimuru 3. If you remember, Rimuru 3, which captured the attention of the whole country, was largely attended by people from Mount Kenya. and they came on their own account. Nobody helped them. We paid for the hall and the less, but everybody paid for his transport, and makuli na wale walilala walijilipia.
Yeah.
It is from the Limuru 3 that we said Ruto must go. And that clarion call was carried through Mount Kenya. Then the Gen Zs came, and our initiative for Limuru 3 had to be shelved. I remember Gachagua was still asking me, sasa hii kitu mnaenda kufanya Limuru 3 mutapelekea nani? And I kept trying to tell them the Kenyans are have the final say in everything we do, whether elected or otherwise. And thereafter we got the Gen Z who came and said Ruto must go. And they started, and the way to get Ruto to go is to occupy parliament, to occupy the judiciary, and to occupy State House. They breached parliament.
Yes.
They also breached a bit of the judiciary. They breached City Hall, which is also another iconic institution. And on the way to State House, that is where many of them were killed. That time, some of those of us were still in government. They were very keen to quell that movement. And again, we had almost a whole year of back and forth. But eventually then we came with a slogan that we are now calling the one term. And while I have no quarrel with it, but it is good to know what the implication of it to the opposition. In my opinion, and it's not my opinion, the reality of it is that you have a contract. And the contract tells you, like, for example, in Azimio, it says that you're supposed to be a member of Azimio until you either sign and go, or until the end of the 5-year term, and then you get into new coalition agreements. So when you tell me that at the end of my contract I must go, nitakuuliza kwani nilikuwa nifanye nini? So this one term is at the end of the term of this government in office. So ni kama unaambia mtaenda baada ya wakati wa uchaguzi. Sema si ni kawaida, ikifika wakati huo tutafanya uchaguzi. So what happened with the one term? The Ruto regime became comfortable, and they now they are even more arrogant. They are doing things that there before they were worried about. You now see them welcoming delegations to State House. Before that, they were not welcoming delegations to State House because the desire of us in the opposition was to go and occupy State House. So all gates to State House remained closed permanently. But immediately we said one term, all gates were opened. Watu wameenda huko ni kukula, ni kukunywa, ni pesa, empowerment programs and the rest. So they are now more comfortable. And you see, the Gen Z had a way of hitting, and there were no comebacks for Ruto. But this one term, the comeback is 2 term.
Yeah.
So we didn't concentrate. We got carried by sloganeering and stopped focusing on the issues that they were informing the Gen Z. It is what had brought us to the Limuru 3. The Azimio rallies were also informed by such things. But all is not lost. It means that where we are now, we need to recraft. We need to work on the shafts and grade better. And that is why one of the reasons why we are having our NDC next week, so that we can tell Kenyans, followers of Jubilee and supporters of Jubilee, that while we were in the campaigns for Ruto must go, we were also struggling in court to ensure that the party is not stolen from us by those who are all in UDA in government, and those who also decided to work with it. Some of them have left, others are still doing that. So we are now through with all those court battles. So next week during the NDC, of course, we would want to tell our supporters that the party is fully available for them for elections. Aspirants should come over. Our party leader will be the one talking to us. He has not talked to us for that long because of that case. He would want to hear what does he intend, what does he think of the future of the party, how does he want it to behave heading to 2027, Again, I'm sure he'll be able to clarify, to reaffirm that we, as Jubilee leadership and every one of us, are in the opposition, so that people stop double guessing us, and even our colleagues should not blackmail us. For example, I'll tell you, we have these by-elections that are coming, and we have the one for Bere, we have Marafa, we have those are the ones looking like they're attracting more attention. We had a candidate who has approached us. Immediately, Ruku was appointed to the public service, or as into the executive. We had a person who came over to Jubilee and said, I learn again is local on an independent ticket. I want to run on Jubilee ticket. And he's been campaigning. There was no IBC, there was nothing. He's been campaigning ahead of anybody else in the opposition. So when the opposition then decides that it is one candidate, we have no quarrel with it. One popular candidate, so that we can take on the government. But it is important then also to know how do you deal with those other candidates from other parties.
Yes.
You don't just throw them under the bus. Otherwise you become very unpopular as an opposition outfit. That's another way of being made unpopular by the system. You have to manage your other candidates very well. And in managing them, one of the better ways of doing this thing is not even to say that TT is more popular than you.
Yeah.
Is to throw them into the primary. Yes, as candidates in the opposition. Whoever emerges then is declared the one that will be supported. So all the other candidates then are able to say, nilijaribu nikashidwa. You know the way Kenyans say,
yes,
nilijaribu lakini
haikutosha.
That is the kind of attitude you'd want to have from all these other aspirants in the opposition. But when they feel like you threw them under the bus, they will now start working very hard to move over to the executive. And again, if you deny me a ticket, that does not mean the end of my political career. I will walk over to the next small party and get a ticket, or just become an independent candidate. So as united opposition, we must make sure that we exercise our minds on this issue to the fullest, and with total respect to all these people, because we need every other person to be with us if we are going to remove William Ruto.
So what is
government?
What is then is the role or the position of ODM in opposition? Because right now it's visible that ODM is in a broad-based government.
ODM has no role in the opposition, other than individuals in the name of Sifuna and Babu who have openly divided the position of the party. And the party cannot then decide, cannot even pretend to try and take any action, disciplinary action against them, because from the legal standing they are in the opposition. So Babu and Sifuna are doing what the agreement that they signed require them to do, including they are sitting within within Parliament.
Right.
They are still viewed as figures in the opposition. But for all practical purposes, ODM is in government. You know that they even made it impossible to define who is the majority.
Yes.
In the corridors of power, in the corridors of justice, the judiciary, the majority is Azimio. The leader of majority is supposed to be UNET. But in Parliament, in understanding of Wetangula and Junet and those in Parliament, he still occupies the office of the minority leader. But when you see him on the floor, he's literally taken over the position of the majority from Ichung'wa, because immediately you can see, since that ruling,
yes,
you can see the Ichung'wa's law was reduced. So it's really untidy, and we will blame ODM for that untidiness for a long time. And it's unfortunate, because they have been credited in the past for fighting for democracy, fighting for multi-party democracy, fighting for separation of powers, fighting for oversight roles, and these are things that they seem to have sacrificed. Actually betrayed those of us who believed that our being in the opposition was we were going to see to get guidance for those who have been in the opposition longest. But they walked over, and unfortunately they've been trying to mock us. But in the mocking us, this is what has happened. The country completely shifted to the opposition.
Yes.
And something that is heavy has happened.
What?
You see, when I was still going out there and thinking of how do we ensure that we are not swallowed, or some thinking, what is it? Then you see around, and I went and said we'll have Matiang'i as a presidential candidate. Just pronounce it. The Gen Z had also that, and then from nowhere the public rallied around that call. And even today, I still believe that he is still the more popular than the others. But this is the thing. What does that mean when that happened? And it is not. It was a deliberate move. It's not accidental. It means that what Raila has held for the last 10 years, slightly over 10 years, because from 2002. Yes, from 2002, and now we are in 2025. That Nyanza block has been intact with Raila. Kibaki may have taken a chunk of it 2007, but the Nyanza block now is less the Kisses. So even as they sit in State House, the two of them, William and Raila, they are minus 1 million plus votes. 1 million plus votes from the block that they can take, say it's theirs.
Yes.
We have taken it from them. So we in the opposition, we can only lose it. They are struggling, and that is why you have seen in the last couple of weeks or days, like last week, you saw them bringing the Kisii delegations and Raila saying blah blah blah, including trying to drag the former head of state into their discussion, which is really I think is very mischievous.
Okay.
But the thing is that they have lost 1 million plus votes by getting the Kisiis and Matiang'i from that side.
Okay.
Something that I hope the history will understand what some of us were doing in our own small ways. So if we are able to retain that block on our side, and this united unit works together, and I am telling you, to take a miracle for them to ever try to imagine. And I can tell you there is panic. William has been to Kisii 9 times in the last couple of months. 9 times.
Okay.
Raila is still thinking of how can he get his ODM back into Kisii, because that Kisii has been taken over by Jubilee, Nyamira and Kisii.
Okay.
So that is a major political blow to that side, and we intend to hold on it, work on it, and ensure that we move on and dislodge them from power. So again, we have no bitterness towards William as an individual. And that does not mean anything else. It means that when you're in politics, we want to deal with the ideology. You see mambo ya mtu. You have seen these Americans, when they go out of their way completely, they go berserk and shoot somebody for speaking his mind. You don't kill. You disagree with what I'm doing, but don't go to the person like they killed the young people here, even here in Nairobi, akina Lex Masai. I mean, don't kill these young people. Listen to what they are saying. Disagree with them. And that is what I keep saying. I totally we have really nothing. There's nothing. Jubilee, Uhuru Kenyatta, myself, and others share with William Ruto.
Bona SG, there are people who would argue, and we've hosted a couple of them here actually, who would argue that Matiang'i currently doesn't have the spine to. He was as a CS, he did what he had to do. He did his job well, and he was rated for what he did and what he delivered. But when it comes to him being a politician and an orator and having that political rhetoric, perhaps he doesn't have what it takes.
One is that if you talk to the Kenyans, and we have, like I was out this Sunday, Kenyans are not interested in political rhetoric anymore. They have eaten it for 10 years now from William, and they have realized that it is of no value. they are looking for a manager.
Right.
And if I talk to Matiang'i myself, I will tell him, do not try and become Sifuna. Don't copy anything from William. Be who you are. Kenyans want you. The you they know.
Yeah.
So that you can come and manage their education, their health, their security, like you did when you were in charge of government.
Right.
I don't know whether you remember that executive order that was signed by Uhuru.
Yes.
Which actually literally made him the chief minister.
Yes.
Which is actually the prime minister's position.
Right.
And the performance, the scorecard that Jubilee holds for the last X number of years is because he is the one who was in charge of that whole agenda.
All right.
And that's the Kenyans want. So those of us who are also competing with him will say that he doesn't have a spine, he cannot be able to go up the vehicles. He hates actually being on top of roof cars.
Yeah.
Because that's not a table. But because you see, it has been turned into an executive table by William. It is a presidential table where it's only that he cannot sign the bills. He cannot consent to the bills or give assent to the bills on top of those. But that's not how to run a country. This country requires people to sit in offices and manage the affairs of this country. We can be a first world country. We saw it, how quickly we can move. If only William did another 5 kilometers of an expressway, something that is, I mean, you see what they are scared about, and that is why you see every effort. You saw the standard yesterday. The onslaught was on Matiang'i. Every effort, every obstacle will be thrown his way. Because come the campaigning, forget about these many things that we are talking. When we start campaigning, which we are going to start in a short while, it will be a question of telling me, I did this road, I did this expressway, I did this SGR, we did this Mau roads, we did all these things.
Yeah.
Na wewe umefanya nini? Na umekuwa hapa mara 20? I mean, that's what scares every politician, not anything else.
Yeah.
When, like now, if I want to go back and run in Daragwa, I will pay a lot of attention to what was achieved by the current member of parliament. And I'll bounce it against what I achieved when I was there. If I didn't achieve much, I will be concentrating on another rhetoric.
Yeah.
But that scorecard is what scares William today. He believes that he can buy people with money. That is why you can now see people
going to State House.
To State House. Now, if you look at the kind of money they are given, if you can add up or do some multiplication, when the MCAs were here the other day, I think from where, I don't know whether from Kiabu or whatever, you could see the MCAs took 6 million shillings. This other team, all these are, so within one sitting, 20 million shillings, 30 million shillings, 50 million shillings is gone. That time, no capitation. No physiotherapy for people with cancer or whatever. Chemotherapy, all those things, hydrotherapy, nothing. You can, SHA is still a myth. Inalipia hawa wengine hailipi. Hayo mambo yote are things Kenyans want to fix it quickly. Let me tell you what I heard some people say in the streets when ukisimama tu na vijana hapa kwa barabara when this wakili was shot. And ordinary Kenyans, actually, by the way, I remember it was the gym guys, the gym instructors. Hao vijana na wanasugua, wanakusukuma ukibie. Wanaweza kukibiza wewe sana. Lakini wewe ndio umejipeleka. So hata wanakuambia tu wewe ndio umejipeleka.
They
told me.
Yeah.
Which was very profound. Waliniambia, you see the way that lawyer was shot. How it happened, forget about the reasons.
Yeah.
Well, the way he was killed, but again using the boda. The reasons, weka kando. If we had somebody like Matiang'i, pengine hata leo angekuwa amesema all these pikipikis ziwekwe karapapo. So that we start knowing who is on boda privately, who is on boda akibeba watu, who is on boda on courier, delivery of services,
or who is riding privately.
Who is riding privately. Then you start trying and define this industry, not to kill it, but to give it character, and to ensure that bad elements are weeded out. But wakasema goja uone, hakuna kitu itasemwa, mwingine atauawa kutoka kwa boda boda. Kenyans are looking for a person who wakes up and makes a decision. Kesho tunataka magari ya primary school yote iwekwe yellow. We do not want vehicles carrying kids. You know, when you come today, every day you wake up and you drive along the roads, if you see a yellow bus, you know this is a school bus. And your senses react differently. Because mtoto anaweza toka kwa basi, the bus driver can, so and accidents were reduced. So we want a person who is action oriented. We do not want a person who is full of sloganeering. Yes, ukiitwa Kasongo unaenda kutuibia dansi kule. Like it was, we were looking for a dancer. No. Kenyans were trying to express their anger. Yeah. And instead of you reacting with an action, you come back and mock them. It's very irritating to Kenyans.
Mheshimiwa Matiang'i, if he happens to be the flag bearer coming from Jubilee, will be an extension of the values and what basically Jubilee embodies. And a lot of people will say that when President Uhuru was president, the Jubilee government borrowed a lot of money from foreign whatever entities. And Matiang'i becoming the presidential candidate, and even when he succeeds and becomes president of Kenya, he'll just continue that problem, because a lot of the issues we are facing right now have been linked to that particular era. What are we saying?
Far from it. One is that you remember the people who are loudest in saying that, oh, we have overborrowed and the rest, are the ones in government now. It will be good to see how much have they borrowed to date and what have they achieved. I remember the words of Kenywa. He's been a civil servant for a long time. And also Muthaura. And he said, they kept telling us, borrowing is not a problem. It is what you do with the money that you borrow.
Yes.
That is a problem.
Right.
So for us in Jubilee, we will show you what we did with the amount of money that we borrowed. And those who kept saying that we borrowed a lot now needs to tell us the money that they have borrowed, what have they done with? We were at around 6-point-something trillion shillings by the time we were exiting.
Right.
Today we are 11 heading to 12-point-something trillion shillings. Within 2-3 years, we have borrowed almost 6 trillion shillings. The amount of money that Uhuru may have borrowed over 10 years has been borrowed within 2 years. But you can actually see what was done in those 6 years. 10 years with the 6 trillion shillings. The wealth of this country was grown from 3 trillion shillings or maybe 4-5 trillion shillings. By the time we were leaving office, 2022, it was at 13 trillion shillings. The wealth of this country. We would want to know, with the borrowing that we have done, have we grown the wealth of this country or has it shrunk? That is one. Two, you will have seen political platforms used across the world. It is only in this country that we think that a new party comes with anything different. Or when you change, ukifaa nguo ingine na umejiita tofauti, unakuwa mtu mwingine. In the US, for example, what Trump has done as the president of that country, other Republican, is totally different from what Reagan did. Under the same party, in the same country. So the problem is not the vehicle. The issue is what's the vision, what's the ability of the person who is coming to run with that ticket.
So it's the individual.
That individual has influences everything the party will do. And it is important to understand that. And what I believe as an SG of Jubilee is that this institution must be available, not just to Matiang'i, but it should be available to generations that will come, so that they can use that platform to be able to get to power and deliver on an ideology, not just they deliver on a promise or on a manifesto that they will have sold to Kenyans. The organization must be there. The political organization must be there. It is not going to be easy for any political party in this country to get the kind of infrastructure that Jubilee has, to get the national appeal. You cannot sell a blood today to the level that Jubilee has reached and then run for a presidential position. William Ruto, whom I said will not run or UDA, if they are trying to do another vehicle, the first thing they are going to do is to try and sell it. Gachagua has thought that selling DCP is just to mention the name. Ask him how many people he has registered to date.
As members of DCP.
As members of DCP.
Okay.
Uliza. Na kamekwama, watu sasa ni kuhama. It is the most difficult thing is to make, to have a political party. And a party that can be able to go outside one region. If you see when they came to when they formed DCP,
right,
and it is again in the public domain, and because mwenyewe amesema kwa mdomo yake, he thought the easiest thing to make sure that he has a bargaining power is to tell Matiang'i, wewe kwenda tafuta chama Kisii, weka wa Kisii pamoja, alafu ukuje mimi nitaweka watu ya Mulima pamoja, na wewe nawe Wamaru anaenda weka Waruya pamoja, Kalonzo weka Wakaba pamoja. Very very it's a very annoying thinking, because I am trying to look for a kind word. It's a really but that's the thinking that they have.
Yeah.
So you see, it is not easy for you to get a party. And I keep saying here, to register 7.1 million members into your party, with all the movement and all the talking and all the coverage that you have given to Gachagua for that time, hajafikisha watu 30,000 kwa chama yake.
No way.
And you can go to the ORPP.
No way.
That record is available online. Go to ORPP.
How many members are in Jubilee Party?
7.1 million members. And that is a machine we will unleash when we start campaigning. After the NDC, that is the membership that we want to appeal to. Those who thought that we've lost direction because of the unfortunate court cases that were brought to us by those who wanted to keep the party, but using members of Jubilee. And I've said it before, I want to say, you cannot go, we want to make it clear, you can't go to war. Napoleon said it with a borrowed army. Hawa watu ambao walikuwa wamekuja tu ovyo ovyo kutoka kuja kusubua, lazima wakubali, wakae kando.
So, and you're saying that DCP, they have been almost in every corner of this country.
I want to tell you, and it is, don't take my word. Yes.
30,000
get to ORPP. And it is not easy, because even in that party, if you now, again, they have a couple of things they need to deal with. Because they have also to get Gachagua. I don't know how. Because he still cannot be the party leader.
Why can't he be the party leader?
If I say it, you'll say that I came to kupiga hea. Lakini ukweli wa mambo ni
if it is a fact, it is a fact.
It's a fact, and the Chief Justice said it the other day, that once he impeached, you are permanently impeached. It's there. He was telling Sonko. Once impeached, you are permanently, you lose the legitimacy to hold a public office. And a public office includes
party leadership.
Anything. Yes, it actually includes party leadership, because parties now are public institutions. So you will note that in the Kenya Gazette, there is no party leader. His name does not appear anywhere.
In DCP?
In DCP, his name does not appear anywhere. And I can give you the Kenya Gazette. I have it. It does not appear anywhere. So they have quite a bit of work to do. And these are the hurdles that you must overcome for you to be able to register members. By the way, let me also tell you, because these things are in the law. If you read the Political Parties Act, Section 13, it says that once you have occupied, you have gone through that kind of a scenario, including impeachment, you've been found criminally. There is a confusion between criminal punishment and political punishment. Impeachment is a political punishment. It's not a criminal thing. So there is nothing like exhausting the process of appeal. There is nothing like that. Once the impeached, you are impeached. Period.
Mheshimiwa, let's hold on.
Nimalize hapo. Kuna point hapo sijamaliza.
Okay.
So I was saying that you see, the Section 13 of the Political Parties Act is even more profound. It says once impeached, or once you are found like that you cannot hold a public office, the Political Parties Act also says you cannot be involved in the founding of a political party.
Hold on to that point.
And when
we are taking a short break,
I'm telling you some of these things, again itakuwa bara.
The conversation in the studio right now is moto. If you've missed it for the last 1 hour, all I can say is pole kwako. But we have Siti Muga in studio, but most importantly, we have the Secretary General of Jubilee Party, that is Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. We were just talking about the united opposition, if indeed it exists, but Siti is telling me it doesn't exist, but we are hearing people talking about it.
Look, the opposition exists.
Yes. United up on your shida.
No. Whether in word or by deed, an opposition always exists. Believe me, it may be a political party or people in political parties who have found some unity. Okay, that's a possibility. Or even in single party states,
right?
You will find people who are in the opposition because a single party state, what we commonly refer to as a dictatorship or a command economy, but people who have a contrary view are the ones who form the opposition. So the question that I want to ask is, when you talk about the opposition,
yes,
precisely what are they opposed to?
I don't think their work is to necessarily oppose. It is their work to be in an opposing side. But maybe Mheshimiwa,
if you're an opposing side, then
it
means you are entertaining something that is contrary to what those in power have. So this thing that you're entertaining, or this thing that you identify yourself with, what is it?
That's a profound question. What are you opposed to? And that's why I was saying, and I totally agree, why I like Gachagua is that he is opposed to William. And he takes on William
head on,
properly, like a piece of cake. You just enjoy. I was listening to a clip he was talking about jana. Nimesikiza clip alikuwa anaongea juu ya Raila. Nasema hii mzee, and as you know, he kept saying hii mzee akitadawiri ni mbaya. Na he was talking to the campus. Na unakumbuka na Kalonzo amekuwa mdogo yake kwa muda. You remember hiyo miaka yote na yeye anadharau Kamba. That's the Gachagua. And I'm telling you, you can enjoy listening to him. I listened to that thing and I kept laughing.
Yeah.
Nadharau Kamba. Ati Raila anapeleka Kalonzo interview. You know the interview that was done for the running mate.
Yes, I remember.
Raila anapeleka Kalonzo interview, rafiki wake miaka mingi mnamuuliza. Anaanza kumuuliza ati wewe jina yako ni nani? Ana kama umeoa.
As though you haven't known this person for decades.
So hilarious. So give him credit him with what he has.
Yeah.
But you see, you can't run a whole opposition on the basis of being opposed to William. Kenyans themselves have said they are done with William. And they are saying they are done with William not because they hate him as a person, but they hate everything he does. In fact, now they hate everything he says. And you need to be clear in your mind, so that when you establish that in your mind, and that's why I said we in Jubilee are opposed to this government,
right,
ideologically. Azimio, we had our way of doing things, and I gave an example, one example of the issue of subsidies. The one thing they kept telling people is that it's not an economic policy principle to give subsidies. We thought it's a form of social support. Necessarily, as you recover or as you create enough jobs in the country, as you do all the other things that will let Kenyans now depend on their own. So that support, the government has a responsibility to support its own, so that at least you can eat, you can sleep, you can go to hospital. That's social support, and that's how we come in. We always believe that as you do all these mega developments, you must give some support to the people. Education must be available to people free.
Yes.
Kenyans must be able to go to school, to hospital, and get medication. And then you must be able to help them get some money to support some economic activity within their areas. Over time, they will then be able to generate enough resources that you can then tax. That's why we had even come up with a policy of 7-year tax break for any person coming from the university.
Yes.
So that you people can be able to start. When we were doing the housing, which we were doing, it was not through taxing people. So those are kind of things, and I keep saying, we believe that you deliver to the people, not to individuals. There are many parties, if you listen to them, theirs is a question of who becomes who. Mimi nataka kuwa huyu. You are delivering to the, it's not delivering and dealing with the problems of Kenyans.
Right.
But it is delivering power to me.
Okay.
So when you say Matiang'i is not politically blah, 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 all those things is now because we are used to people looking for power, you know, as unto themselves. But it's not a system that can deliver to Kenyans. And Jubilee, we believe, is where we want to deliver to Kenyans. Mashida wa Kenya ni yapi? And then you work on them.
Mheshimiwa,
yes.
Jubilee was in power. What would
for 10 years?
Yes. What would you say they want to deliver now, which they didn't deliver in 10 years?
One of the things is that every time, 10 years ago, let me put it this way. What Kenyans wanted delivered when we were in power 10 years ago is different from what Kenyans want delivered now in another 10 years.
Are you
so you cannot say
are you suggesting that everything that Kenyans wanted delivered were delivered in those 10
years?
No,
never. In any case, that is why every 10 years, every 5 years we do elections, because it is a time to look at the scorecard. But remember, the only reason why we were not occupying State House, why we are not occupying State House, is not because of our performance. It's also because we also did not have a presidential candidate as Jubilee, as a party. We came together as a coalition. And I want to tell you that one of the naive thing that I would never want to be part to again in kwa siasa, it is to be in a party of the nature of Jubilee or even ODM, and you do not have a presidential candidate. You will have to have decided, like we decided in Jubilee, that wacha tufuate mwingine, then we can organize ourselves. And that is the battle that we've been fighting for the last 3 years. Because without a presidential candidate, even our members of parliament kind of lacked identity in parliament. They were quickly swallowed, and I was left fighting for the survival of an institution of this big. Why? Because I believe that if we can be able to ensure this institution is available, and now we have learned from past mistakes, even as we are dealing with the united opposition, we cannot get into united opposition blindly. I mean, we are in it squarely because we are even the ones in opposition than any of those ones. But when you start saying that you want to agree on things, we have, for example, now agreed that sawa, if we are saying that we feud candidates in these by-elections, that you say we feud so and so, there we feud so and so, we can go on that basis. But come 2027, if you want me to say that you feud a candidate, we go for primaries. I mean, a party with, like now, for example, in Embu, where we are saying that we are going to have DP feuding a candidate. Do you know how many members we have in Embu registered in ORPP register? 186,000 members in Embu County. Which is this other party that has that kind of membership? So when you tell me that I should not feud in Embu, and I say fine, for the sake of looking united, we are not going to feud. But when we sit in a room, you need to you must put something more scientific on the table as to why we should not be feuding when we have that kind of a following. What basis would you stop us feuding 2027 candidates in every position we want across the country? That's a debate that we must have between now and then. Remember why some of these things we don't want to do anything else. We are coming from those court battles. We are now reorganizing the party. We are heading to our special NDC from a platform from which we now bounce or put ourselves on the national whatever. And we are going to do campaigns. We will work with the opposition. We will be in the opposition. But every political party must be given its constitutional space to sell itself and to ensure that their members also exercise their constitutional rights and freedoms without it being taken away on a table where there is no real democracy.
Mheshimiwa,
yes.
Does our constitution have a structure that accommodates coalitions?
It provides for it, but
is it a general framework?
There is a general framework that was enabled by the Political Parties Act, which we amended during the last sitting. So the last sittings now allowed the current Political Parties Act gives room and provides the legal framework and even the journey or the route, the roadmap that you follow when you want to do pre-coalition or post-coalition. Azimio was a pre-coalition agreement, pre-election.
What's a pre?
What was
and what is post?
The pre is the coalition you come into and mnakubaliana hii uchaguzi tutaigia tukiwa namna hii. Kuna ile kukubaliana kusema waacha sisi tujibwage wajani sisi wote. Wewe kuja na ile utapata, mimi nikuje na ile tutapata, tutatengeneza coalition after. That after grows political parties. The pre kills political parties. Kwa sababu ukiniambia tukubaliane hapa kama vile tulifanya Nairobi. For example, 2017 Nairobi was totally controlled by Jubilee.
Okay.
We got into a pre-coalition with ODM, which came into Azimio. Yes? And we, through that coalition, we lost Nairobi to ODM and to UDA. So there we have lessons that we have learned. And but there are also these pre-coalition agreements are agreements that small parties will really die for. Because they will be able to deal with elections kwa mabega ya zile vyama kubwa. Tutakubaliana usilete candidate Marava. So the small party that is with us in Azimio will then benefit because we will all put our weight and our resources on that small party in Marava. But if it is after, we say sawa, wacha tukutane uwanjani, mwenye ataweza, then we come on the table and say this is how we are, let us now make a post-coalition agreement. Post-coalition agreements are better to me because you see, I have come with 77 members. You have 85. This is how we share bunge. This is how we share. This is how we share. This is or this is where we can have members. So it becomes a government that is inclusive of every corner.
Okay. There's a comment here from a viewer. Anaitwa nani huyu? My Take 2.0, that is their name. Anasema opposition has never been as confused as they are today in Kenya. I wonder why that is so. So Kenyans are seeing united opposition not even being united. Confusion in there. You've just told me some facts about former DP Gachagua. I didn't even know. Mimi nilikuwa nangoja kumuona kwa ballot in 2027.
Yeye mwenyewe ako na hiyo imani na wafuasi wake.
What you're saying is that
unajua naye hiyo ni Kenya, lakini mimi nimekusomea ile sheria iko na si ya Gachagua.
Ni sheria ya Kenya.
Ni sheria ya Kenya na hata mimi imefunga na niyo Sonko. Sonko hata ako East African Court of Appeal akijaribu. Lakini hiyo yote alienda mpaka Supreme Court.
It's a waste of time.
Akabiwa hapana. That's how Mother Como was saying. Once impeached, permanently impeached. Dugu elewa.
And it is not personal.
And it is not personal.
It is the law.
And this is the law. And this is why when I come across governors and everybody who can serve the law of impeachment, I always plead with them. We are Dugu. Do everything you can to sort out these things with your MCS. Don't get impeached.
Because that will be the end of your
career. Don't get impeached. Do not allow your kiburi ikuruhusu uwe impeached. We had sent those words to Gachagua
when he was DP.
Don't get impeached. But we have also some very funny lawyers who still have not understood that impeachment issue. They are the ones who went telling Gachagua, no, we have not exhausted the legal process. We have not exhausted the legal process. I take it that these
lawyers are being paid.
Well,
of course.
But then again, even you have to make sure that you are careful with some of these advices that you are being given.
So, Umesh, what we are trying to say here is, had Gachagua...
I'm not saying, I'm not sure. You see, umesema naitwa nani hao watu?
My Take 2.0.
2.0, I can't argue with the way he sees us. I must now ask ourselves, why are we looking confused? And since Kalonzo is the leader of that now group, he is the one who should be able to find out, why is my group being seen as confused by Kenyans?
Okay.
What do I need to do? What kind of leadership do I need to give? So that we don't look confused. Yeah, because he must take the responsibility.
The reason why I asked the question about the coalitions, you see, a coalition represents a very profound understanding before you actually get to that agreement. Okay? Because essentially what you're doing is you're sharing power. Now, I am looking at the forms of coalition that we have in this country.
Yes.
And I'm using the word coalition here loosely. The so-called united opposition right now represents some form of coalition. Ruto and Raila, some form of coalition. Now that is what the public is being fed as an understanding that is arrived at. Once the elections came to an end in 2022, we saw another formation of a coalition that we had never seen before.
Right.
Cannibalizing other political parties. Now, my question is, do our laws allow for that cannibalization?
Actually, that is infidelity to a multi-party democracy, which is being practiced by Raila now, because what is he doing? You remember, first of all, he had an issue with his 9 members of parliament,
yes,
who had gone working with UDA. And he even took them to the disciplinary committee.
Yes.
When he is the leader of Azimio, because he is in the legal RPP, you still are the leader of Azimio. Right?
Okay.
There's no way Azimio can go and work with the UDA without a properly worked out document that is again signed by your coalition partners. And why I say this is infidelity to multi-party democracy, I mean, driven by greed. I keep seeing them saying that Kenya was at the brink of collapse. We were not. We were actually at the brink of saving ourselves from the mess that we are in now. We were right there, almost going to bring changes within the 5 years. But he went there to keep us in problems for 5 years. Why would it not be infidelity when he has confused the institution of parliament? Political parties are the ones that help parliament function. But when you behave in a manner as a political party that confuses parliament itself until they do not know where to sit, what to do, which bill they should support and oppose, that is not, that's unconstitutional. The constitutional foundation and what our constitution was informing is not this kind of confusion. In fact, the constitution was trying to clear this confusion. When you are in the opposition, you are in the opposition because Kenyans decided that you remain in the opposition. And you cannot do funny shenanigans in between and walk into government. When Raila had the handshake 2018, was it 2018? Yes. If you ask our party leader, because we keep asking, and he explains it, he keeps saying 2-3 things. One, I told Raila, there is nothing in government that is left. The government was formed by those who were given the mandate by Kenyans to form government. So there is no slot in cabinet I can give to you. Number 2, I have no interest in scavenging from your party. You are in the opposition. We want you to play your role in the opposition. We are in government. This handshake is to say, can you bring the issues that are being pushed by your people that they think needs to be done by the government, including amending the constitution, and I also bring from my side the issues that the country, my side of the country also thinks needs to be done so that we are in a more harmonious country. That formed the BBI. It was not getting people into a government, broad-based or narrow-based. It was, you are who you are, who Kenya's made you for 5 years, we are who we are for 5 years. The coming together now into Azimio was now a political formation, not based on 2018 thing, no, but how do we deal with the elections coming 2022? So Azimio was a lead political now outfit to try and win power 2027 and move on, and perhaps see whether whatever they had agreed on at the BBI could then continue being implemented. Whatever agenda that had been done by Jubilee for 10 years could get continued. That didn't work.
Okay.
We have not walked out of that legal document. We are still signatories and members if you go to RPP, ODM is a member of Azimio. Okay. Jubilee is a member. Wiper is a member. Those are the three big parties. And actually the parties that are really about because of their parliamentary presence.
Okay.
So this is just unnecessary infidelity. Okay. If we had remained as Azimio, I can tell you things will be different. If we had taken over the majoritarian position on the floor, can you imagine? We had been given that mandate by Kenyans to make the budget as Azimio.
Would have a different budget.
And then it was upon UDA to defend or to fight our budget because we are the ones controlling the floor. That's what Raila feared and took off.
What
abandoned
exactly,
it, nakakibia.
I don't understand. What exactly did he fear? Because here the courts have handed to you the power. You've been given, you've been told,
yes,
you are in charge.
Yeah. Do oversight when you have the majority on the floor.
Political competition is supposed to take you to that eventuality.
Yes.
So you arrive at it. Why would he be afraid?
And that is, in fact, if it was a question of negotiating on behalf of the country, that is the best negotiating position. You have the executive, I have the legislature. I have members of parliament. Wewe mmekuja kutoka kwa serikali, mnataka tupitishe nini? Tunataka tupitishe hii sha. Sema kwa nini? Then we are also saying in parliament we want an NHIF. In that negotiation, Kenyans get the best. We are supposed to be in a negotiating position in this country. For as long as we are negotiating with each other,
yes,
Kenyans benefit. If it wasn't for us to negotiate, if it was not for that spirit, we will not be having the 2010 Constitution. 2010 Constitution is a negotiated document. Now, when you try and get the whole of parliament into State House, you are allowing dictatorship to creep back. Because you are trying to even bring numbers to increase the term of parliament. That's why you hear them talking of 7-year term, because they have the majorities on the floor. But then they forgot that when we sat and wrote the Constitution, we still did not give our full trust to those in power. Lazima ukuje tuingie kwa referendum.
Urudi kwa wananchi.
Lazima urudi kwa mwananchi. Sasa ile sasa hatari iko ni kwamba united opposition must have the capacity that in the event that they bring such fundamental constitutional changes, we are able to convince Kenyans that they are not good, not because of our own greed, personal greed, but because we are looking beyond where we are and what we would want to see Kenya be come another 10, 15, 20 years.
We have another viewer here. Salome Gikonya anasema, great insights, Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. You should be the deputy president and Matiang'i as the president.
Allah.
This is the only team that will liberate this country. Utatuambia kama unataka kwa DP. But she goes on to say hapa chini that the only way the opposition can be united is when they focus on the real issues affecting Kenyans and not on which position one should have.
You should ask the age of that person. It's likely to be in the brackets of the young Kenyans. They are concerned about issues. They're not concerned about their tribes. They're not concerned about all these things. They came to the streets because we are fighting about issues. And I keep saying, like now, I tell you, I can't wait for the NDC to come. I want to go back and now talk about the issues.
Yes.
I said yesterday, maybe I don't know whether I said it here or elsewhere. But as we sit here today, we have 295 bodies without a name, without an identity.
You said it here.
I said it here yesterday.
Yes.
That are about to be buried by the county government of Nairobi.
Oh yes. Yeah, you said they at the Nairobi funeral home.
Yes. I mean, this is something that should concern the opposition. It is only the opposition that can speak on behalf of Kenyans so that better work is done, better DNA is done to find out who are these Kenyans who are being buried that manner. So these are the issues that we must bring to the fore. And we have hospitals that are not receiving medicine. We have ghost hospitals that have been paid. We have
ghost schools
that are going to be polling stations. We want to go back. We want to focus on the electoral process. It is now we need to be talking about voter registration. What is this IBC? Have they even had a meeting with the opposition up to this date? They should have had a meeting to say these are the kind of things we want to do as Jubilee when we come back. Of course, we do it together with
you mentioned something very
with the opposition, but leadership is required.
Very pertinent. I hadn't thought of it, but when you mentioned it, I said, I now understand. We've discussed at great length here how it is that these good schools somehow never get deregistered.
Yes.
Okay? In 2016, this issue came up, and the ministry indicated that there were 1,000 schools. They didn't tell us which schools. An audit brought out these schools. But now when you mention a polling station, it now makes sense.
They will be used as polling stations, just like hospitals are being used as paying outlets. Remember also that our law allowed vehicles to be used as polling stations. These are some things that these are the issues that the opposition should be concentrating on. We have IDs getting lost, left, right, and center. Yes,
vehicles are used as
polling stations.
Our law allows it.
Our laws allowed vehicles to be used as polling stations. Mobile. So that you can, if you ask it, you'll be told nomads keep moving. So they need vehicle. Polling stations need to move with the nomads. And that's a very dangerous thing. So you need to know if really that is where we want to go. What are the security guarantees?
For me, what has struck me, even after independence, when Jaramogi formed KPU and we had by-elections, we started witnessing ballot boxes in Joro River. This is not new.
Yes.
But then we became more sophisticated. Excuse me. Our elections are held in primary schools. Schools, to be precise.
Yeah.
Okay? So again, if they are fake schools, it means they can be fake polling stations.
Yes. There we are.
And then just extrapolate.
By the way, for the record, we already have, I think, 2 schools that were used as polling stations in Baringo.
2
and they were,
schools.
yes, and they were even in the papers. Only Kibao.
Yes.
But when you go in, is a bush.
Actually, you didn't need to go in because there was some funny fence and a big notice.
Yes.
End of story.
I saw that on TV sometime.
Yes, that's the kind of thing. Those are the things that we need to focus on issues, but we are still now worried that who becomes what. You can't start sharing positions even before you have been able to give yourself a character. Kenyans themselves, and I keep saying, when you say that we need one presidential candidate, how I wish that then we can do some primaries. Sio mkae kwa ofisi ama tukae kwa ofisi tuseme ya kwamba you see that lady is saying that he sees me as a deputy president.
Yes.
That's a Kenyan saying. But when you sit in that room, would they even want to see you? They call you a Karani. I had Justin Muturi saying we have nothing to do with the Secretary General. And, I would really want to talk to his Secretary General of DP and hear what he has to say. I mean, so you know that people, you just grow big. But Kenyans have not grown you that big. And this is what I keep saying. Turudi kwa Kenya, kwa sababu ile shida ile kubwa iko ni that kind of sitting together. And then you don't allow Kenyans into that debate. I believe that even us in Azimio, if we had time to allow Kenyans in a debate of forming Azimio 2022,
right,
we would have done better. Yes.
Another one here, someone is saying Kisii has never been entirely ODM zone. On the other hand, a huge chunk of Meru people seem to support His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. Marion Mbogwa anasema thank you SG #Jubilee Party, and then at the moment, I believe that the only opposition that we have are Kenyans.
Yes,
Kenyans.
That's a guy who's gotten it.
Yeah.
Why the opposition has a name is because Kenyans are in the opposition. All Kenyans are in the opposition, and they are looking at leadership that they can trust with their support in the opposition. It's true what he's saying. The Meru, and I have heard the other person saying. Kisii has not been entirely in but you can look at how many of them have been squarely with ODM. That's a zone that was almost, it's only Kibaki who had managed to make some very strong inroads, and those inroads have were being clipped by Raila every other time. But now,
Yeah.
unlike ever before, again in Kisii, I think it is going to be one solid block. Yes, Kisii itakuwa shida kukaa nje ya Matiang'i. Hiyo itakuwa shida. Na naona hiyo pia itakuwa namna hiyo. Hata kwa mlima,
what is interesting,
kukaa nje ya Jubilee itakuwa shida sana.
That pattern you speak of, if you go to Western, I'm talking about Kakamega County and probably a bit of Vihiga, you will find that democracy. There may be a party that has more than others, but other parties get represented.
Yes.
Which in my mind tells me they vote for the individuals.
Yes, actually, those you have analyzed it very well, and even Trans Nzoia.
Yes,
you can actually see some pockets in this country of areas that people just look at who can represent us better.
And that Kisii area is the same.
And Kisii,
there's a lot of democracy in the way they elect their leaders.
If Matiang'i is able to harvest from these areas, yeah, because he is a national candidate, really.
Yes.
He is appealing from every corner. He's able to map up these areas and talk to those centers who are used to looking at the quality of the person, the track record of the person, because that seems to be the card that will sell 2027. Now that all of you have taken us to just one term. I thought we were going to do it earlier myself. I had preferred an earlier solution. But it seems when Kenyans are going to look at the character, the track record and everything, and you can hear from them. So even people trying to badmouth him by saying that he XYZ, there are those who are saying, oh, ni project ya nani. By the way, me, I want to be a project of Uhuru.
Yes.
He did well. I would want to be a project of a person who did well. That's why we also say, and I'm not equating him to Christ, but that's why we say I am a follower of Christ, because you like what Christians stand for and what Christ did, what he taught us. So being a follower and being a project of Christ is nothing bad, and I'm not saying equating Uhuru to Christ, but I'm trying to say there are people who are so scared of being, oh, the project ya nani. If I'm Matiang'i, I will not be scared of being called a Uhuru project. In any case, if it is just a project without any meaning, Ruto is a project of Uhuru. He was with Uhuru for 10 years. He is a project of Uhuru. If he wants to talk about project, but that's a negative project.
Yeah.
I would want to be a positive project.
Sorry. But no, please.
There has been a lot of focus lately on northeastern Kenya by the current president. What is Jubilee's plan as far as that is concerned?
It's a very scary thing. In fact, that is why I'm saying I cannot wait for NDC. The activities going on in Mount Kenya, not in Mount Kenya, in
northeastern
Kenya, and the attention of the opposition is required urgently. There was an attempt to register, to give people ideas from across the boundary, and seems not to have worked very well. The chiefs had already moved the other side to try and do that. But we must also thank Kenyans in that region, led by the governors there, who are making noise and objecting to it. We now have Jubilee, who are actually saying that they are operating from our side and they are working with our system. These are not issues that should be ignored, not just because of the voting 2027, but because of this is a country that has boundaries. We need to know who is a Kenyan and who is not a Kenyan, and we have ways of being a Kenyan, and we do not want to suffer like other countries in Europe are suffering, or like the American. You know, there is a huge crisis in America. Trump, 21 million people who moved into America during the 4 years of Biden. And what Trump is trying to do is to remove them now. That's not entirely, the statement is, you know, you can argue the statement both ways, but that's the kind of picture that has been printed up for us to see. When you go to Europe, I was seeing 10 countries in Europe that are now out to kick out foreigners, led by Latvia, and even Germany is in that list, France is on that list, Spain is on that list. We don't want to get to that level where in Kenya we have more foreigners whom we cannot account for than our own people. And it is already happening in some parts of Mount Kenya, by the way. I know in places like Kinangop and even Kiambu, we have very many people from Rwanda, from Burundi, from Uganda, who are already working, doing the manual, the casual labor. Useful because they do very well, and they are hardworking, they are committed, and two is that they are also affordable. You can afford them. But what it means that is when you can afford them, there is a Kenyan you've denied that
income.
But also crucial is that we don't know the character of this person you have brought. Is he a Kenyan? Is he a foreigner? Is he known by the government that he's a foreigner? So paying attention to what happens along our boundaries is a very crucial thing. And the people who always keep the other ones on check are the opposition. The opposition must keep the executive on check by also telling Kenyans what is happening. That free movement of Kenyans and Tanzanians, Ugandans, and now Somalis on this other side, Sudanese on this other side, is something that we cannot ignore. Of course, to say that those in power, our fear in the opposition is that they would want to have those kind of movements for purposes of inflating the votes and giving us fake ballots from those areas.
But Mheshimiwa, we have a bit of a problem there because one, we've had very open borders when it comes to our neighbors, especially neighbors who've had problems. We've never really been restrictive as a country in allowing our neighbors from other countries to come into our country throughout our history. Whether it was Uganda that had a problem, it was Rwanda that had a problem, South Sudan, Somalia, we've never had a problem. But now you bring in a different issue because with the elections, all manner of narratives now come in. And primarily because our elections, it is a Kenyan understanding that our elections are never really fair.
Yes, yeah.
And the focus of the presidential election, but I dare say even with party elections, that's where the problems actually begin.
We have, without doubt, one of the biggest blunders that happened within Jubilee was the nominations. Nominations were really shambolic, and it is a concern of our party leader. And it's a thing that we must address going to 2027. So when you say our electoral process, whether at the party level, at the national level, and the county level, and the parliamentary level, has always been suspect. A lot of work must be done. And when then you have people who come in and acquire IDs,
and now you've moved it to a different level,
and you've really taken it to whatever little trust that was there is eroded, and it becomes very difficult for us to have a credible electoral process that people believe in. And you also make the country unstable, because elections are supposed to make us stable.
Yes.
Credible elections make the country very stable. So when we have that kind of leakage, and it becomes a problem. But what was a little like a fallback position, the reassuring position was that our IDs are not easily accessible to non-Kenyans.
Yes.
Our passports are not easily accessible to non-Kenyans.
Yes.
Now that we know that IDs and passports are being, obtained freely from across everywhere, then we become more panicky. And even foreigners are having a problem now with our passports.
But we had this problem even when Kibaki,
yes,
during the coalition government, we had this problem.
Yes.
That same immigration department, the ministry that handled it, we had a very serious problem there.
Until it was, we made some movement during Uhuru's time, because then we know you could go for a passport and get it, because there was transparency. And get it because you could even track the movement of the passport.
Yes, yes.
Now that is already gone. Passports are being given from Siju Wapi. You can get all these things. So Ruto has collapsed everything. He's collapsed everything, including our way of chewing food. The guy has just collapsed everything.
No, wait. Now you see, this is where now, when the Secretary General has become political. You see, this everything. It's not possible to collapse everything.
Now,
even if you want to.
You have now the honors to tell me what is this one thing that is working. Tell me one thing that is working.
This thing that
even the way we used to drive, we knew that when you are left hand and we would go on our highways, we go this way. Today unakutana na gari thick highway iko pande ingine imeakisha mataa inakupigia kwa wewe kuja tu.
And we're blaming this on the Ruto government, surely.
Yes, because no, I'll tell you why. when the police officers are not as motivated as they should be, then that happens. Because if you know that you'll be caught by the police officers, you fear being caught than being caught itself. But when that fear goes, people they do everything. Look at the motorbikes. I mean,
You
these
can't
are
blame,
things.
no, the motorbike menace was there even when Uhuru was
Yes,
in power.
but remember also what happened. What did Uhuru do?
What did he do? Tell
He
me.
did this when they misbehaved and mishandled
issue
the
of-
lady.
Yes, on
remember that thing?
on Forest Road. Yes,
And then
on Wangai
yes,
Masai Road. Yes.
that area.
Yes.
All borders were said like you don't come back but the road until you have gone through a retraining. What did the Ruto do? He used that as a campaign tool. Said they must be allowed to come back to the streets. They must be blah 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 blah. The pressure was so much that nothing was done from that opportunity that had presented itself, to the point today where we are that they actually don't know what side of the road to ride on. I mean, yeah, you must have.
No. I see
Lazima uwe
the traffic lights,
unaishi.
and I see we talk about it here. You see, we are now talking about.
I know you are trying to defend the very difficult thing to defend.
No. I'm not actually trying to defend it.
Yeah, not border, saying that things have not collapsed.
No.
Yeah.
I cannot subscribe to the idea that nothing is working.
No,
Absolutely,
at least we
because-
thank God we are waking up in
because
the
that
morning.
because that is not true.
We are waking up in the morning. At least that is working.
No. When people make campaign pledges and use campaign rhetoric, it is often devoid of any truth that can actually be implemented. I give an example earlier on, like when someone says I'm going to build 100 dams. The view is that it will take a year to. Dams don't take a year to build; they take much longer.
Yeah.
The entire process of ensuring there's even money to build them, everything takes much longer. It's a campaign promise. It's politicking.
Mm-hmm.
The thinking behind government, when you go beyond the populist approach towards electioneering and you take it into government, that in my opinion is where the problem is, because you cannot run a government on populism.
Yes, and even when you're making your manifesto and promises, while you need to make them attractive to the people, you need to know that it will be used to check you.
Yes.
So a responsible leader will always be careful not to be excessive in the kind of promises you make, because you'll be held
To account.
on the same.
And
And that's
with-
exactly what has happened. Out of the 100 things that these guys promised to do, and they were being asked, they are saying year 3. Out of the 100 things that they promised, have they done even 5?
I haven't been counting, but what I do know.
The one I know they did, and they did well, is the Hustler Fund. So, but you can tell me where that thing is. That was just a scandal.
What I do see
Was conceived
what I
and
do
even
see, and this I see
provided
as,
for
as,
in
a,
law.
as a positive thing. The roads that were planned for in the Kibaki era, which the Uhuru era took and continued, this government is continuing with some of those projects. Roads specifically. I like speaking about things I have seen, not things I have been told. You cannot support the failure of a government when you know that it need not fail. Now, the opposition then comes in. You are in the opposition. What exactly will the opposition do differently that will now make sure that the things that are needed the most and which are spoken of as not having been done get done? Simple.
One of the things which we will do very quickly as Jubilee is this housing fund levy that is being taxed on people, and they had objected to it. We will do away with it. We had a model where we were still doing housing without taxing people.
Yes.
We'll go back to it. If that they had stuck on that model, more resources would have been available by now, and they will be doing more housing that will actually genuinely be available to the perhaps the poor, and help them come out of that. That one we will certainly do, and we will not need to struggle with it because we had already done it. The issue of universal health care is something that we had already done piloting in 4 counties. It was working. We will go back to it and get it to work. We had a functioning NHIF that requires panel beating, and people had faith in it. You could see people struggling, farmers struggling to sell their little so that they can make sure that their monthly installments are paid, because it was working. That will fix it quickly. You cannot doubt us on the issue of education. We had done that education. Capitation was there at 22,000 shillings per kid. It was getting there to school. We had the chiefs themselves making sure that every child who was school-going age was in school. And one of the things the chief had to report on a daily basis to the office of OP here, the GAO, was that there is not one single child who is at home, sent home because of school fees or otherwise. These are some of the things that are quick fix. We will fix our border very quickly. We will not allow that infiltration. It was during the Jubilee government under Matiang'i that time, because he's under that executive order, that we dealt with the terrorism. Remember, we had been hit at Dusit, we had been hit at that supermarket, Westgate. And if you drove towards Garissa, you will actually have known what was put there. Our own young men were trained to become anti-terrorists, and they were completely covered. Until the other day, those things were being removed. Again, I'm told they are back. But even when they are back, it's not a 24-hour service. I was on that road, and those anti-terrorist guys, they leave the road around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Wanaacha barabara. Ni kama kule gari pia zimefungwa miguu. So, I mean, so those kind of things, we will be able to deal with all these things. I also believe that a clear separation of power is useful. Proper funding of the devolution must be done. I know there will be back and forth about it, but also holding people who have stolen those money or those funds from that. We will need to deal with the issue of what is it called, CDF, and those funds needs to be dealt with in a manner that is both constitutional, but also in a manner that makes sure that accountability is better. So there are a couple of things, and I'm sure when we are done with our NDC, when we start moving around as Jubilee, because it is these things, you talk about them as a party first and foremost before you talk of them as an opposition. We will be able to articulate what it is that we can do. We had these Ridamama programs in Wajami. All those support programs will be there. We had the issue of the tax rebates, tax breaks, not even rebates, tax breaks for people living in university. Incubation centers that we had for people, for young people. Remember the ICT programs that were there at the constituency level, where there are people, where the government was struggling to ensure that Wi-Fi is available in specific halls. You'd walk there and do your own biashara online without suboring anybody. These are programs that were meant to benefit the people directly, and they are not things that you depart from. We'll certainly even look at what this UDA government, the ones that you are saying have not collapsed, we'll look at what they have done and might be useful. We will not abandon it. We'll carry on with it, because they were doing it on behalf of Kenyans. But for as long as it was not exploitative, as long as it is something that can benefit Kenyans, we are not just going to abandon like the abandoned projects that had been started by Jubilee government.
Like which ones?
There must be the one for the UDA. We will look at, when you are in the office, utaangalia vitabu vyote. If it takes a while to look at them, we will. Kibaki taught us when he took over from Moi. He assigned his VP that responsibility then, and he put a committee together to go through all the projects that have been started by Moi across the country, and to ensure that funds were failed to finish them. And most of the programs were finished. The only one that there was kind of abandoned, kulikuwa na kitu ilikuwa naitwa nini, karakara. Ilikuwa inaitwa karakara. There was some classrooms.
What was it supposed to do?
Every primary school had classrooms that had been constructed and were meant to offer technical subjects. I came across them much later within my constituency, and we were turning them into other facilities. So that's one of the projects that I think was not picked. But we have that responsibility. The first thing would be to ensure that we know what was being done, so that it's not abandoned. It's either finished or worked differently, but not for purposes of populism, and not for purposes of entrepreneurship, because many of the roads was first of all stored so that new contracts could be issued with some bit of kickbacks. So even the ones that you're seeing going, I want to give you an example. The Rironi road, this
one which has been ongoing for quite a while now.
Uhuru went and signed it for 160 billion shillings with the French government, PPP.
Yes.
William went there and cancelled it. Immediately he came to power, and it's on record. He went and cancelled it. Then they went to...
And the French took us to court.
Yes, they took us to court. Then they went back and signed another contract for 180 billion.
With the same people.
With the same people.
Yes.
The French, again, after a while, say they are not even interested. They have no faith in what this UDA government stands for. Now they again went to China. Now you can see the Chinese guys uko kado ya barabara wakipima. I know they are capable of delivering, but it's a question of whether our people are capable, are keen on fulfilling what they may have promised. If you go along Thika Road, there was these bus programs abandoned.
Yes.
BRT.
The mass transit.
Yes, and now that road is really, whether people like it or not, if I was to invest in a PPP thing as an investor, that's a road that requires a PPP. Inajaa asubuhi na jioni kabisa. So anybody who would want to invest some money, actually, that's a place you give them to invest. Na watatengeneza pesa.
But the blueprint for that had already been established.
There you go. So
even routes had been determined, and one actually knew. I know because there's a gentleman called Charles Hinga who was in charge of that, and it made sense.
Yeah. So these are things that, and I tell you, it will be. We must do new things. 10 years, what we did 10 years ago is not what we are going to look at. It is what needs to be done for this country to move to that next level of development.
And what makes you think that this message will be received happily by the people you're going to talk to? Because
we have to do the convincing. One is that they will receive it happily. They may not receive it happily, but they will receive it and accept it. Hope-free, because they have already seen a government that cannot function and that does not perform. They already know those who cannot perform, how they talk, how they look for votes, and what they do, how they look. And they also know people who have performed before, maybe not to their best, the way they expected, but who can perform and who can be made to perform better.
Which way you think very highly of the electorate, don't you?
Now, that's another debate that requires another session, because they are the only ones we have. They are the only ones we have. But those who also think very lowly of them, be careful. Yeah. Those who think that you can just bribe them and they will vote for you come 2027 na kuwapatia pesa hapa State House, chunga sana. Si nimewasikia wakisema huko Murang'a na kwingineko. Hiyo tutakula, lakini hata usirukubali ifike nyumbani. Kulia kwa barabara, whatever you get.
Mheshimiwa, we have about 40 seconds and I'd like to ask you, what do you think the current regime can just do differently to ensure that they're not being, or rather Kenyans will have an easy time as we approach 2027?
But remember, there's somebody who has seen good qualities in me to the point where I can be a deputy
president,
and it is not going to be a new thing. So that also called me and
that was not stage managed. Mheshimiwa didn't tell the person to call and say that.
No, I don't know. I don't. There's to call and tell, to call and call me a deputy. That's a difficult thing to do. But one is, I think it is important for them to listen to Kenyans and have some respect for them. If nothing else, let them stop talking down on Kenyans. Na kuwapigia kelele kila wakati. Yes, and perhaps some apologies. You remember when we had demonstrations, alituita terrorists. I'm still waiting for them to apologize. You cannot call Kenyans terrorists and criminals. Those kind of things. But as we wait to vote them out, they should also ensure that watoto wameenda shule.
All right.
There is nothing you can do siku ikipita ya mtoto. They should not waste kids' time in politicking. They should provide capitation, and not just capitation. Wale wote hawajaenda shule waende shule, serikali itakuja kutafuta pesa iwalipie.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa.